Breachlight has finally made its long-awaited return to Destiny 2. This was one of my favorite sidearms back in the day. Now, it's still a 2-round burst sidearm. However, Bungie has given it back to us as a Strand weapon instead of a kinetic. So today, guys, we're going to be going over this new version of Breachlight and seeing if it's better than its original version. Now, let's start with the perks, guys. In column 3, we have Demolitionist, Pugilist, Perpetual Motion, Threat Detector, Compulsive Reloader, and Slice. Then for our 4th column, we have Desperate Measures, Adrenaline Junkie, Swashbuckler, Vorpal, Slice, and Collective Action. Now, starting off with our 3rd column options, it still has Demolitionist just like the OG version, and this is a great trait inside of PvE. It reads that kills with this weapon generate grenade energy, and activating your grenade ability reloads this weapon from reserves. Now, this is going to give us 10% grenade ability energy every kill, and with the enhanced version, this goes up to 11%. Now, if you're within optimal range, Breachlight can tear through enemies really fast, which nets you your grenades back very quickly. Now, we also have the melee version, which is Pugilist, where final blows with this weapon generate melee energy, and dealing melee damage briefly improves this weapon's handling. Now, just like Demo, this is going to be 10% melee ability energy per kill, and 11% with the enhanced version. The handling benefit's pretty nice too. It's like 35 handling for 3 seconds when you deal melee damage. Now, of course, if you're rocking a melee build, this is an obvious choice. It's got great synergy, which synergizes even more with our origin trait, which we're going to touch on in just a moment. But the last perk that I would recommend in the 3rd column is Slice. This reads that casting your class ability allows this weapon to sever targets on hit for a brief duration, up to a maximum number of targets. Now, essentially here, guys, when you use your class ability, this is going to allow you to sever up to 5 targets. And inside of PvE, that's a big debuff. We're talking a 40% reduction in outgoing enemy damage. At PvP, it's not as much, it's like 15%, but still good. You can imagine 15% can result in either an extra shot or 2, which of course lengthens time to kill. Now, the enhanced version allows you to sever for 9 seconds instead of 8 upon using your class ability. Now, the thing about sever is a lot of people don't really think about using it until they're in things like Grandmaster Nightfalls. And then suddenly you need anything to stay alive. And that was something I definitely relied on during contest mode for the raid. Now on to our 4th column perks. I first want to talk about Hatchling. Precision final blows or rapidly defeating targets with this weapon spawns a threadling at the target's location. Now, this is going to spawn either a threadling every precision kill or every 3 rapid kills. It's a good perk if you can get the threadlings to spawn often, which on Breachlight here, I found I was able to spawn them in pretty consistently. Now, the threadlings do pretty solid damage. We're talking 12,545 damage against Carl. Where threadlings get really nasty, though, is on Strand, when you got things like Threat of Evolution and get that 33% increase in damage. This cranks it up to 16,685 damage right here against Carl. Now, the enhanced version of Hatchling just gives us +5 handling. Now, if you're looking for a more direct damage perk, you really only got Adrenaline Junkie and Swashbuckler. Now, those are both good because they both synergize with our 3rd column perks. Adrenaline Junkie with Demo and Swashbuckler with Pugilist. Now, both of these perks increases the damage each kill. They max out at 33.5% at 5 stacks, and they last for 4.5 seconds. Adrenaline Junkie, though, can reach max stacks after getting a grenade final blow, whereas Swashbuckler reaches max stacks instantly by getting a melee final blow. Now, the enhanced versions here simply increases the duration of these buffs. Adrenaline Junkie and its timer goes up to 5 seconds instead of 4.5. Swashbucklers goes up to 6.5 seconds. I think the main takeaway for both of these perks is they synergize with those 3rd column perks. I would like Bungie to eventually increase the duration of both of those buffs, though. Even the enhanced versions don't seem to last long enough. Now, Desperate Measures is also present here. It states that weapon final blows grant bonus damage. Melee and grenade final blows grant a larger damage bonus that can stack. Now, this damage bonus at max stacks is not as high. You're sitting at 30% increase in damage at ×3, but it is easier to maintain. To reach 1 stack, you just got to get a kill with the weapon. This is a 10% increase in damage, and if you get a grenade or melee final blow, this will give you ×2, which is a 20% increase in damage. And this can be procced just from a base melee, not just a powered one. And the beautiful thing about Desperate Measures is that it can be procced while the weapon is stowed. Then ×3 will net you that 30% damage buff, which you need to get with either a second grenade or a melee kill. Now, each stack at base lasts for 7 seconds, already putting it longer in duration than even the enhanced version of Swashbuckler. And the buff can also be refreshed at any tier by getting just a weapon kill. Now, the enhanced version of Desperate Measures simply increases that buff timer to 8 seconds. It's not a bad perk, and I think the big takeaway here, guys, is Breachlight has a number of options, whether it's creating threadlings or highly focusing into a melee or grenade build, or really just dipping into both with desperate measures. And I'm sure this is going to change depending on your own builds. With that being said though, I really like Demolitionist and Hatchling. I know, seems like a weird combination. We've utilized combos like this before though, but despite Prismatic being very, very good, I still find myself going back to some of my favorite Strand builds in the game. And a Demo Hatchling Sidearm, I'll take it all day long. Now, the beautiful thing about all of these weapons is that you can get double perks in both Column 3 and Column 4. We have an entire guide on this, guys, but the Echo's Activity Enigma Protocol can drop double perks. And this seems to be tied behind your first completion each week. So while we go over all of these different role combinations that are really, really good, it's a good chance you could possibly get all of them in a single drop. Now let's go over our origin trait found on our returning Dawn weapons. Cast No Shadow. Dealing melee damage increases this weapon's handling and loads a small amount of ammo from reserves. Now at base, this is refilling +6 ammo each kill on Breachlight. Unfortunately though, this cannot overflow your magazine. You're only going to get ammo refilled if your mag is not full. As you can see here, I'm meleeing Cabal with full ammo, and I'm not getting anything. This also does not seem to be influenced by mag perks. For instance, if I put on a pendant mag, I'm still getting 6 ammo. So it doesn't seem like a percentage of your mag that's being refilled. Now keep in mind, this is at base. There's an artifact mod called Saint's Inspiration, which does allow us to overflow the magazine. You see, each melee hit will still give us the +6 ammo, but now you can overflow up to 100% of your magazine capacity. So on a base mag, this will give us 48 shots. Matter of fact, I was able to overflow up to a maximum of 58 shots. This is a fantastic artifact mod, and I highly recommend using this if you find yourself running any of these Dawn weapons. Now we do have a couple other ways to boost Breachlight. We've got Unstoppable Sidearm for activities with champions. This will also overcharge the sidearm when the overcharge modifier is active, giving Breachlight and other sidearms a free 25% increase in damage. You got Elemental Siphon, which states that getting rapid kills with the weapon matching your equipped super will create an elemental pickup. And in this case, that would be a Tangle. Let me just say, Tangles are back to being mini nukes with the artifact mods this season. We've got Threaded Blast. We're destroying a Tangle with a Strand weapon, which Breachlight is, creates a larger, more damaging explosion. And that radius is big. Then within our subclass, we also have ways to give Breachlight unraveling rounds. For Prismatic, we've got Faceted Bravery, where defeating targets with the power melee final blow grants unraveling rounds. Again, synergizing even more with that origin trait. This can also give your Void weapons volatile rounds, so you can actually double up here with a Void weapon in your energy slot and a Strand weapon, that being Breachlight in that top slot. Now, if you happen to be just rocking Strand, you also have Thread of Propagation, which also grants unraveling rounds from power melee final blows. Overall, guys, I really enjoyed using Breachlight again. It's a great Strand sidearm that actually hits pretty hard due to its heavy burst frame. Its DPS is lower amongst sidearms, sitting at 18,200 against Carl. But considering its total 1 mag damage is 75,528, it's still pretty respectable. Sidearms also received a 20% damage bonus against minor combatants, which is who you're mainly going to be using it against. You've got Unstoppable Sidearm to overcharge the weapon. You've got Saint's Inspiration to overflow your weapon. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Cross, why would I ever use Breachlight over the Call? Well, they are both sidearms. And I know the Call is very, very good. We recently did a review on it. It's a monster. But at the end of the day, one is a primary weapon and one is a special. And in my opinion, the reprised version of Breachlight can hang with the best of them. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.